Welcome to a special edition of the John Fredericks Radio Network, Trucking the Truth Across America. We're live today again in Doha, Qatar, and we're sitting down today with Mr. Nabil Mohammed Khaldi, and he is the Chief Officer of Ports Management of the state of Qatar, and we'll have a wide-ranging discussion about the movement of various products and goods into Qatar as it relates to the embargo and some of the interesting things that you're going to find out today as we go forward and trying to investigate further what exactly is the implications of the three-state embargo against Qatar imposed by three of the countries of the Gulf Cooperation Council, the GCC, implemented in June of 2017. These three countries are Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, and the United Arab Emirates, UAE, and also joined by Egypt. And three countries, of course, not participating, Qatar, obviously, Kuwait, and Oman. And these are not official sanctions by the UN. This is just a three-country blockade, which has really divided the GCC, or the Gulf Cooperation Council, and it can't seem to be resolved right now. President Trump yesterday meeting with the Saudi prince and weighing in and saying that it is troubling him and that he would like now to find a way to resolve it and get the GCC back on stable footing, and perhaps the U.S. will attempt to mediate it. The Kuwaiti government has attempted at mediation, and some factions I've talked to have said that the Saudis have turned that basically into a media circus and have not taken those negotiations seriously at all. So from there, we start. Mr. Nabil, thank you for being with us.
Most welcome, and good morning for everyone.
Now, Mr. Nabil, you run the seaports in Qatar, and one would think offhand that there's a blockade, that seaport business would go down and you would have a hard time getting imported goods and services into the country, meats, vegetables, fruits, medical supplies, the normal things that people have come in. But chatting before we got started, you were telling me that your business here is actually up dramatically. What happened?
Actually, before the blockade, from business perspective, we are using some ports. It's not directly the cargoes or the ships that are coming directly to the Qatar. But after the blockade, we work with the other ports like in China, Thailand, Malaysia, USA, and also Europe. So we coordinate with them. All the ships, they are coming directly to the state of Qatar. So with this way, we achieve to increase our business and also to reduce the shipping costs, because now there is no one in between or intermediate. So I think it was a win-win for all, for the Qatar as a ports from a maritime perspective, plus for the customers, because now all the customers, when they ship their cargo directly without someone in between or intermediate, so here the cost of the shipping, definitely it will become less. So that win-win situation for the customers, which is very important for us, and we are too keen, to bring all the cargoes to the end user, that with the low cost. From port perspective, so when they ship, they come directly to us, so that definitely it will be easier to coordinate with the shipping lines. So here, your cargoes or containers when they leave the original port and coming to the end destination.
It's fascinating. So you were saying that before the blockade, there were 4 routes, shipping routes into Qatar.
Yes.
Essentially, 4.
If you are talking as a direct call.
Right.
Yes.
And now that has expanded to 22 separate routes.
Yes, this is what they sold. This is the golden way. Now we have direct calls from all other ports, so we increase our routes up to 22.
That is unbelievable. And you're also saying that now you've increased the number of countries that you do export-import business with through the sea lanes. And what were those numbers? You told me it was pretty dramatic. The number of countries you now engage directly?
You know, when you direct coordinate with these countries, and now all your cargoes, which is, let's say, under your control and under your system. So here, that cargoes would, in coordination with the countries or the ports in that countries, so it will increase the volume. How? Before the blockade, we are almost working with the 38 to 42,000 of TEUs. So here, this is the normal here because we are talking about domestic utilization. But after the blockade, so you can imagine, we reached 115,000. So
triple.
Almost triple.
Almost triple.
So that
of the crates coming in.
Yes. So that number, it's reflecting to the income, which is that definitely it will increase your revenue, because when you increase the volume of handling, so definitely your revenue it will be increased. Second, the time, which is, I think, for us it's very important. So before, when you ship any cargo directly, not directly, through other ports, so normally they are taking time between 30 to 45 days, which is that really it's very long time and need to improve that period. So with the blockade, we did something which is very important to the end user. So that 30 days, which has been decreased to the 22 days.
So you can deliver.
So we can deliver it quickly. 1, 2, the end user can get his cargoes or shipment. It's very fast, and then you can use it in their factories or in their business, which is definitely it will improve. Let's just say the cycles of work in the state. Third, cost, which is very important for us. For anyone who would like to ship something, so definitely the first thing he will ask you, how much? That cost, if we take as examples, before, when we ship any container from China to Qatar, almost the range between $2,800 to $3,500 per container.
Yeah.
Today, we are talking around 1,000 to 1,200.
Wow.
So it almost got cut by 1/3. And that's simply because you cut the middleman out.
Yes.
You cut the Saudis out because the Saudis had the blockade, so you had no choice.
Yes.
So the Saudis hurt themselves.
You can say.
I mean, I'm saying it, right? I mean,
yes,
you just do the math.
Actually, it's impact their business because most of these cargoes, when they're coming through them, it was before, there was a benefit. But
they would go right through Saudi Arabia, so
UAE, Saudi Arabia,
or the UAE, right.
Anyone, because when you're talking that there's someone in between or intermediate, so here, yes, definitely that port, it will be a benefit for him.
And you said that one of your ports in Qatar, I think you said the West port, that volume was up dramatically, right? One of them. One of your three.
We have 3 ports,
right?
As we discussed. One in the north of the state, which is that Arwais port. That Arwais port, it's normally before the blockade, we are handling like dhows, that traditional boats and wooden boats. But yes, due to the size of the port, plus it is a little bit far away from the center of the state. But after the blockade, so this port, they can run a business with and also handle steel vessels or steel ships. So most of the cargoes now coming to the Arwais port that related to the domestic, like fruits, like vegetables, like livestock, some sheep, cows, camels. So this port, it's before the blockade. It's, if you can consider the operation percentage, it was 35%. After the blockade, now we reached almost 95% of installation. And now we are really looking to expand this port. Because
So actually expand it, make it bigger in order to contain the, hold the volume.
Yeah.
We're with Mr. Nabil Mohammed Khaldi. He's a chief officer of ports management in Doha, Qatar, and we're talking about the embargo of the 3 GCC countries against Qatar and the impact that it's had on their seaport business and their economy as a whole. And we're live in Doha today in Qatar. Mr. Nabil, so from your standpoint of business, the blockade, your seaport business has gone up dramatically, almost 300%, 3x. So that's having no impact on you at all. Is the blockade having an economic impact on the regular citizens of Qatar? Have prices gone up? Have they seen just a difference in economic prosperity due to the blockade?
I told you a while ago, okay, the blockade, actually, if you take it from other way, this word, when you use it, so definitely has to be, there is an impact. But here, depending on that impact or effect, is it a negative or positive? So normally this is, this is the result of the any action.
Right.
Okay. But the reaction from the blockade to the economy of the state, which from port perspective, from the sea maritime perspective, it is for positive.
Based on what you said, it would have to be a benefit to regular Qatari citizens because the cost of importing shipping has gone down. So that has to be reflected in lower prices.
Yes, it's a normal, because, when you have a direct call, so time less, cost also less. So definitely that, the price of the products or materials, when you are going to sell it, has to be also less.
Right.
Because also, if you go back before the blockade, from the economic perspective, so we are also dealing with other GCC manufacturers or factories directly with them, because we are at the end we are as a neighbors and we are in the same body. GCC, most of the families, they have a relations between together. But after the blockade, so okay, here you have to find another sources. So when we went to the market, so most of the merchants and traders, they have seen what's available in the market, best quality, less price, and less time. So here, definitely that if you take it as from the economic perspective, so that it will affect in the economy as really it's something. It is a positive for us.
So you said what you found is better quality, less price, and less time.
Yes, which is very important for all the businessmen.
So, I mean, just looking at this from the outside, from just an economic standpoint of moving product, import and export, the blockade on these 3 countries and Egypt to you has really backfired economically because it's made Qatar go out and find other trade partners and other shipping routes, and just forced you basically out of the situation that you have been doing for some time to a general benefit for your citizenry.
Yes, definitely, because people, at the end, they don't know what's, let's say, behind the wall. So when we are working in this business, you have seen really, that impact. It is add value to us as a port operation. The number of ships that are calling also our ports, it's been increased almost 4-5 times, which is really, it's a very big number.
It's almost been a PR campaign.
If you've seen that Arwais port, if you take the example, Arwais port normally before the blockade, you are talking about that 5 ships per day, 6 ships per day, not more. And most of the ships, they're like dhow ships, like wooden ships. Old, yes. But after the blockades, today they are running almost 18 to 22 ships per day.
And these are the bigger cargo ships.
Yes, and they are bring also, handle also different type of vessels like landcrafts, like barge, like some heavy cargoes. They would be required for the constructions like aggregates or stones. We can call it now them directly from Oman or from Iran or from India, Pakistan. So before the blockade, it was just from the UAE, but after the blockade, you have so many sources now.
Mr. Nabil, you mentioned that you're opening up one of your 3 ports in Qatar to cruise lines.
Cruise lines, yes, cruise ports.
Cruise ports.
Doha port, when we shift most of the operations and business to the very mega port, that Hamad port. So here we want to utilize that old port for as a best operation. So how? Doha ports, it's a premium location. It's in the middle of the state. It's in the capital, close from so many attractions areas. So the government decided to convert this port to be as a cruise port. So that cruise port, it will add value for all the cruise vessels. So because most of the cruise vessels, they are looking for these ports to be closely from the attractions. So if the port far away from the attractions and cruise ships, normally they are coming or they're calling ports for hours, not more than 12 hours. This is the maximum. They can't stay in the port. But if the port out of this 10 or 12, so there is no benefit. So here, when government decided to convert it to be cruise, because this reason, it's a premium location. It is very close from the attractions. As I said to you, and also he has a very nice view, because Doha port, when ship cruise alongside to the GT, you will see the nice towers, you will see the nice pearl, you will see most of the nice buildings in the state. Yes. So this is why we decided.
All right, we're out of time. Mr. Nabil, I appreciate your time with us today. Mr. Nabil Mohammed Al-Khaldi, Chief Officer, Ports Management of the State of Qatar. Thank you.
Thank you to all, much. And it was my pleasure to meet you here in the Ministry of Transport and Communication building.
Thank you very much. This is the John Fredericks Radio Network, Washington, D.C., live in Doha, Qatar. We'll be right back. Stay with us.